So let's start out with what I'm using. Okay. Alright, so we have Turg's pack. Okay, craftable. I'll show you where to craft that after I show you all the gear. Alright, what we're trying to do with this build, this is the KaBoom build. And what we're trying to do with this build is get spell power up and some maximum Magicka. So this is a Sorc Magicka build, alright? And we want to balance the, because it's a PvP build, we want to balance the health and the Magicka. Obviously high on Magicka, but we need a little bit of health to stay alive. It's also a shield stacking build, alright? And I'll talk more about that in the skills. But, so Turg's pack, main, 2 daggers, alright? You're going to dual wield swords, daggers, whatever you want in that department, but that also increases your spell damage, alright? It's it's a byproduct. It's been there since, you know, forever in ESO. You dual wield, you're going to get more spell damage than you would with a staff or a single hand build. Alright, so 2 turrets packs, daggers. Alright, I go for the 3-piece, and I'll show you where that 3rd piece is on the actual gear in a minute. On my offhand, this is a Restro staff. You can pick what you want. I picked turrets packed just because I can still keep the spell damage bonus when I swap. Alright. Vicious Death. Alright, this build is the KaBoom build. Alright, the idea here is to, you know, burn down Zergs or multiple players at the same time. It's not much of a dueling build. It can be used for that, but you're not going to get the impact because the 5-piece bonus here is where you really want to, you know, where this build really shines. So head, you're going to get 5 pieces out of head, chest. You can, you know, mix it up however you want, but basically I'm getting it out of, you know, hands, legs, feet, chest, and head. Now the waist is the other piece of the turrets pack. Alright, I always want 2 so I get that spell power or spell damage. Alright, so you can see these are going to combo with these to get the 3-piece health bonus. Okay, you don't have to go 3 pieces. If you just want to focus on spell damage, just go for 2. Right, make your offhand the second one also, so when you well, yeah, that actually breaks it up. Okay, so you're not going to be able to get the 2 if you swap, but again, the swap on this is really escape, defense, buff up. I'll show you the skill bars in a little bit. Alright, so the waist is the 2nd piece. That's always going to have give you the spell damage enabled. The shoulders. Alright, these shoulders are part of the Undaunted. Well, you can buy them in Cyrodiil with the weekly vendor that comes every week at Friday 8 p.m. Eastern. Alright, then she sells various pieces. Now, this is not the optimal piece that I wanted. What I want to put here is Magicka for the spell damage, 1-piece bonus. But again, I'm stacking health here a little bit to save myself in PvP, right? Because when the shields go down, you still need something there, right? Obviously, you're in light armor. You need as much survivability as possible. Alright, so now what am I doing on a chance? You can see here I'm maxing out Magicka, right? And the traits, I'm mixing them. Okay, I am going impen on everything that I can. Alright, obviously the shoulders didn't sell that way. They sold with infused, not optimal, but it's okay. Alright, so and I went with divines on the other ones. So impen, 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 divines on a couple pieces, right? So what I'm trying to do is, even with shields up, impen is a great PvP trait to have. You really want to target that. Divines is going to help me with my Magicka recovery because of the stone, the Mundus stone that I selected. All right, so what are we enchanting on these? Not much because it really doesn't matter. I always go with unresistible damage. I'm not really swinging and hitting anybody. For this one, um, I go defending just because it's a healing staff. I'm in the defensive mode. I kind of like to be able to shell up and really defend here, so I pick defending. You could pick a spell impen um, trade if you wanted to too. Jewelry, willpower. That's a pretty obvious choice when you're going for a DPS build, a Magicka DPS build. Spell damage on all the enchants. Um, I picked health on the rings. Okay. You could go pure Magicka. Again, I'm trying for survivability, so I want a little bit extra health, so I went with health on the rings. Also a cheaper option when we go and look at the pricing for this build. This build is not over the top expensive. The expense comes was when you have to upgrade these to gold, right? The mats for that become expensive. So if you can farm them yourself, it's, to your advantage. But that's where the expense comes. But buying the base gear, if you PvP a lot, you're going to get Vicious Death to drop, and you're more than likely you'll get lucky and get either Divines or Impen on Vicious Death. So, uh, it's not that expensive a set. This is Turix Pact is crafted, and again, I'll show you where that's at. But this is basically how I've geared up and also enchanted and which traits I chose, right? Divines and Impen. That's really where you're going to go for PvP, in my opinion, for a DPS Magicka build. All right. Again, willpower here, spell damage. All right. Character stats. Here, your health is, again, this is base health, a little low, in my opinion. It hovers right around 20. But when you're in Cyrodiil, you're going to get some of the bonuses of Cyrodiil. So I hover around 26, and you'll see that when we go into Cyrodiil here. Magicka recovery, not optimal. I lose some here because of Vicious Death, and I'll show you the other gear set that I run for pure spell damage and higher Magicka recovery. But I don't really have a problem here with Magicka recovery, so I'm pretty good. 2700 spell damage base. Again, I'm looking to get that up to a 3k base with Molakina. I'll be around there. Like my spell crit, a little bit in the 40s, so that's where I'm at there. Of course, I'll show you the skills and how that impacts some of these stats too. Again, I'm in a PvE zone, so this is where I'm at when I'm outside of Cyrodiil, and we'll show you the difference. All right. This is the Mundus Stone, the Etranach. Magicka recovery. That's really where you want to be. You want to have a constant pool of Magicka, so that has to be really in Magicka recovery. That's where I'm going for this KaBoom build. Okay, you want Magicka up all the time, obviously, and the more Magicka you have as a base stat, you're dumping it all into Magicka. You're not dumping anything into health or stamina. Normally when you do a build, if it's a stamina-based build, you're dumping everything in the stamina. If that's your DPS, if that's your, attack, that's your skill base, you're dumping everything into the attribute that basically your skills are evolved around, right? I don't split up. I've never found any advantage of splitting up, putting 30 here and 30 here. You're just gimping yourself in the end. So stick to all Magicka for Magicka DPS build. And if it's a stamina build, go all stamina. All right. What else do we got? Oh, the race for this build. It's a high elf. Okay. It has the bonuses that you want for Magicka based DPS build and a Sorc. Okay. So that's that on the race. Let's go through skills. All right. All right, main bar, Endless Fury. I use this kind of as a pepper. So what I'm doing is I'm spamming this on the target and basically trying to proc Crystal Frag. All right. When I proc Crystal Frag with this morph, the Crystal Frag becomes instant. All right, and deals 20% more damage and costs less. So as I proc this, or as I spam this, basically wait for this to proc. See my hands light up, and I'll show you that in a minute. And that's my main DPS skill. The knockdown is good in PvP. It's got good range. It keeps you away from melee. And I do then break it up here with proximity debt. Okay, proximity debt's almost like another shield for me. Why is that? Yes, it's a bomb, right? However, it's part of the KaBoom build, right? But I have it up so that if somebody wants to come close to me, proximity debt's one of the DPS skills that's going to get them. Right? They obviously can see the big red ring, but it's their choice. If they want to kind of come in, I'm going to have that up along with my shields. All right. Again, shield build, shield stacking build. We have Hardened Ward as your main shield. All right. Boundless Storm. I use this as a resist type shield. It's not really the shield that I really use this for. And it's not really a shield, but it gives you a massive bump to resist. But I like it because of the speed. Movement speed's a big deal as for me. I love to go faster. Love to get from point A to point B quickly. It has multiple advantages. It gives you speed. It gives you resist. And it gives you this little tick of shock damage. And I basically can expose Nightblades or anybody that's stealthing by just running around edges and stuff and exposing them, because that shock damage will burst them real quick and expose them out of stealth. All right, so it's a really cool spell, and I'll show you a little bit of the gameplay with that. Meteor, morph to Ice Comet, kind of obvious. I like Ice Comet because of the slow effect, and it's a good ultimate. So on the alternate bar, this is the healing staff bar. Okay. Your other, let me go from this direction. Harness Magicka is my other shield on the shield stacking. Okay. To heal yourself, it's Healing Ward. All right, and that's part of your line of your healing staff. Okay. This comes up whenever you get low on health. You stack your shields around it, and basically put Healing Ward up, and then you're good to go within 6 seconds. It heals you up almost to max, depending on some buffs, and I'll show you what those are. Champion points. This slot right here, I mix up a little bit. Okay, Daedric Minefield's usually here in PvP. I can put in rapid maneuvers when I want to get across, Cyrodiil quickly on horse or whatever, on your mount. And I also mix this up with, show you, mix this up with a healing staff um, spell. Basically, this is your AP farming spell. You basically can dot a whole bunch of people if you're sitting back, and just want to chill. You can dot a whole bunch of people with this, and the kills that they do give you AP. Um, it's a morph of mutagen. It's a morph of I know. I forgot. The second one. I forgot what the name of the first. So you just look for the second one, and I forgot what the original name of this is. But anyways, this is where it's located, right? So basically, morph this to mutagen. Um, what it does is it heals. The healing's not the big part. It heals two nearby allies for over 20 seconds. Okay, and the way this works is actually you can spam this, and the tick doesn't go off the original two that you hit. At least unless they patched it recently, but it hasn't. So I can basically spam across multiple players on my team, on my side. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to be grouped or anything. And any attacks that they do again, and they kill a player, you'll get part of that AP credit. So it's an easy way to get some AP if you're away from the battle, or you're stuck behind it, or you're on a keep wall or something like that. It's nice to be able to use that in spam um, to get some AP. Again, this I'd swap out, right? Rapid maneuvers, get you across the battlefield quickly. Retreating and morphed into retreating maneuvers. You can pick the morph that you want, but this is the one I usually pick. All right. Streak, teleport. Uh, Again, this is my second bar. All right, this is my healing staff bar. I like to call it my defense bar, my retreat bar, whatever you want to say. So, streak, obviously teleporting across the battlefield, getting away from bad situations so you can get your shields back up, whatever it may be. Right, that's what we're doing here with teleport. Structured entropy. This is my dot. I like this one because I can dot multiple targets, um, and I can. The second part of this description here is what's important. Major sorcery, increasing spell damage by 20% for 20 seconds. This gives you that big burst for spell damage, that bump that you want. Um, and I used to have this on my main bar, but proximity debt ended up going into my main bar because it's just, offensive, had to be there, wanted it now. So I do lose out on the max health, but it's okay. Again, this is my, health bar, my defense bar. When I swap to this, I'm streaking away. I get more health because of when it's, the entropy is slotted down there. You see the last part, your max health is increased by 8%. So it's really a, like I said, shell up, defend type bar. Um, and, you know, the major sorcery is a big deal on this. So that's why I have entropy here. Um, that's the choice I did. I know there's, in the Sorc build, there's a similar type spell that does this, but I just prefer for this because I can dot multiple targets, and you're not going to stack spell damage, obviously, but you are going to get the first part of this description. You're going to deal, a dot damage, and you're going to restore a little bit of health, every 6 seconds. So Um, I like it, you know, over the other selection that you could have there. What's the ultimate here? Um, the Greater Storm. Or actually not. Okay. You can put something else in here. It's all right, but I like to drop him again. Health bar or defensive bar with a healing staff. Uh, I can just drop him, and he's just basically going to town on whoever's around, right? Players either take this damage or they freak out and they try to get away from him, right? So gives me time to basically um, heal up, shield up, and retreat if necessary too. So that's the way the skills are stacked up. All right, all right. So let me look at something real quick. All right, so yeah, let's talk about so structured entropy. I believe it's power surge. Power surge is the other choice here, right? That's the one I don't pick, but I just wanted to show you it. Okay, see it says gives you major sorcery, increases weapon and spell damage, which increases by 20% for 33 seconds. Okay, when active, critical strikes heal you for 40% of the damage done. Damage over time abilities will not proc this effect. Okay, so if I crit, I get a heal in this. Um, Again, you activate this before you go into combat. If you do it efficiently, you can activate it whenever you want. But that activation gives you basically the spell damage, right? It doesn't have to be a target. It's just a buff that basically gives you that spell damage for 33 seconds. Structured entropy gives you that when you before you start, right? You basically dot somebody, and when you dot them, you basically get your spell damage. Go up here. Okay. Um, Back. There we go. All right. You get your spell damage for 20 seconds. Again, I can dot multiple targets with this, and I'm getting a damage over time. I'm getting major sorcery, and I'm getting that health buff. So again, your choice, but power surge was the other one that you could put in here. All right. So we went over the skills, we went over the the gear, and looked at the initial stats, champion points. Now this is obviously depending on how many champion points you have, but I can show you where to go for what to focus on early, what to focus on right away. Okay, when you uh, when you allocate your champion points. Start here. Okay, Bastion increases the effectiveness and damage absorbing effects by 19.7%. Okay, this is a shield stacking build also, right? KaBoom build, DPS, shield stacking build. So basically what you want to do here is, one second, I just noticed something. Okay. All right, shield stacking. All right, so increasing the effectiveness and damage absorbing effects by 19.7%. All right, you're increasing your shield's ability to absorb damage. Pretty obvious here. That's what we're doing with that with this allocation. So if you have limited amount of champion points to start with, you want to definitely start putting some into this area here, and then quick recovery. You just start with a couple. You don't need a lot here, in my opinion. Healing received. This is when you put your healing ward up, right? You go to your defensive bar, you put your healing ward up. This is going to give you a better amount of healing that you receive, so that that bar fills up, your healing bar or your health bar fills up. Um, Again, you don't have to allocate early on in this. Just put one in there to get 1%, right? But focus on getting your damage absorbing effects up by dumping points into here. The other place is the lady, right? This is pure resistance from other players' attacks, physical damage, disease, poison. Within Thieves Guild, they've combined some of these champion points areas to combine these reduction, these poison, disease. I don't remember what it was, but I think poison and disease was its own little area, and then physical damage is somewhere else. I forgot how they combined them, but anyways, point is, you want to dump your points into Hardy and Elemental Defender. Okay, this is all your magic attacks, right? They've combined these all Flame, Frost, Shock, Magic. So it's everything in one. You want to dump them into here. So this is going to protect you from other players' attacks. All right. That's it for this area here. Okay. Here you can see we don't have anything. We're going full out into Apprentice. Elemental Expert. We're a Magicka Sorc. We deal shock damage with this build, magic damage. This basically puts them all together. So you want to get this maxed out as quickly as possible. Put all your points here if you don't have enough early on, and then work on your crit, right? And start to get that up to where you are comfortable with it. Here, you do want spell penetration, and basically I keep this at last, and I put enough points in to basically just about probably just want to land around 1,000 with the new system, where it's not a percentage, it's just straight out a number for spell penetration. All right. Effectiveness of healing done. Put 1 into blessed. Just put that 1% in. I mean, if you feel like you want some more healing buff when healing ward comes up, that's fine, but don't waste your points. I just put 1 in here for just 1%. Again, this comes when you're putting healing ward up on your defensive bar. All right. Jump over here. Go over here first to the big one. Okay. So Magicka recovery. Obviously, you want as much Magicka recovery as possible. You want to be able to sustain your attacks. Your fights could be longer, so I dump all the available points that I have as I'm, building up champion points into Arcanist. Why am I doing stamina recovery? So stamina recovery, when I'm moving fast with Boundless Storm, you run out of stamina very quickly as you're sprinting, right? So every little bit helps. This used to be buffed more, but since the last patch, I don't know what happened. They removed being able to get stamina recovery while sprinting, so it's not as effective anymore. So I've just dumped 1 in there just because I had an extra 1 point to put in. My other ones are going here, elusive and tumbling. I just want to reduce the amount of time that the snares and fear impact me, so that's what elusive is doing. Other players, fears and snares or whatever, you can always roll out of them, but like fear, you just can't break out of it quickly. So this will help out. This is the reducing the amount again. If you're gonna you know, dodge roll or try to break free out of something, it reduces the amount of stamina because we're not a stamina build. We need as much help as we can because our stamina will deplete quickly. All right, and over here's the rest of the points. Obviously, the magician reduces the Magicka cost of spells by 10%. As you pump more in here, you're just reducing the cost of all your Magicka spells by putting points in here. All right, so pretty much that's it for all the champion points. And now let's go over where we can find like Turrets Pact, how to craft this, and then also how to what's my pet? That's freaking me out. It's like, what's that smaller dude there? Where we can buy this gear and where we can actually craft this gear. All right, let me show you this is a good place to do this to show you the skills. All right, so first bar again. All right, this was the first bar. Endless Fury, Crystal Frag, Procstat, Hardened Ward, and Boundless Storm. All right, and Meteor is the ultimate. All right, Meteor's already up. You see it down there. All right. Here's what my rotation is. Basically, I'm getting Boundless Storm up, Hardened Ward. I swap. See the staff come up, and I put Harness Magicka on. That's my other shield, and I swap back, and now I'm peppering with Endless Fury. Right. And you see how Boundless Storm is zapping all of them, right? This is PvP, obviously, right? But you see the point there? It saps everybody. Now I refresh this. I refresh Hardened Ward, or refresh Harness Magicka. It becomes a really quick rotation. I'm on Xbox One, obviously, and I have one of the Elite controllers, so I can put the swap on the one of the paddles that go below the controller, right? So it's a quick swap. See, I'm just swapping quick. I don't have to use the D-pad. But I used to use the D-pad when I had the regular controller. Pretty simple swap, all right? So Boundless Storm, Hardened Ward, Harness Magicka, up and ready. Endless Fury, I can see my hands are lit up already, so Crystal Frag is instant, okay? And then I finish them off, usually with Boundless Storm. Alright, like so. Alright, so now, PvP, right? Remember structured empathy, right? I don't have any foods up either, so I can tell you which food I use. Might help you. Alright. I use the 3 trait food. Alright. You can craft that one also. Get the pattern through the guild stores. Alright, so I'm buffing all 3. See how it when I procced it, see how it procced right there? See my hands lit up? Crystal Frag is instant. Otherwise, Crystal Frag, I killed him. Otherwise, Crystal Frag has a time, cast time, right? See how those instant? Pepper. And if you don't, these PvP mobs are obviously PvE mobs are pretty easy to kill, so. See there, it just procced. So the next one is instant. And we're just proximity debt. Come into this whenever you want it to. All right. Proximity debt. There we go. You can see it, and you can the glow around you, and you can also hear it. and then it goes off, right? So I can pepper this up. I can put a proximity debt. I could just wait here. Obviously in PvP you're not going to do that, but and then wait for the explosion. All right, big explosion because you got maximum Magicka. You're bumping that damage number up, and you're just going to have a big KaBoom on proximity debt. Now vicious death is the other part of the equation here. These aren't players. This is PvE. Again, this build is PvP based, right? So vicious death is not really going to help you in this PvE scenario. Okay. Enemies explode when you kill a player. They violently explode. You know, for almost 20k flame damage. All right. Doesn't happen here. This is PvE. These aren't players. Structured entropy. Alright, so in PvP, what I'm quickly doing here is, right as I'm buffing my shields, I'm putting my shields up. Boom, boom, swap. I remember I had structured entropy on this bar, right? And I'm not finding him up. Here we go. Right, I'm dotting him, swapping back. And on the same button, I have Boundless Storm. So basically, I have the spell damage increase right now, and I didn't even use Crystal Frags in that example. I just basically used Endless Fury. Keeps spamming that. Okay, so there's another one. So we'll go rotation. Boom, boom. Structured entropy. Boom. All right. Done. Alright, so the final one. I get into a little bit of trouble. Right? Probably do that over here. A good amount of mobs. I'll pull all these mobs. Alright. These mobs will probably... I'll put proximity debt on. I need a little bit of heal here, right? I'm in a little bit of trouble here, so... I put healing ward on. I'll see, watch. I have my other... You saw the red bubble come up, right? That, once it's 6 seconds, you can see it fills up there. I'll show you a better example of that. So this guy is gonna beat on me a little bit, right? Imagine you're fighting in PvP, it's a player, blah blah blah, and he's hitting you. You need to heal. You quickly swap up and you swap back, right? And once that's full, it just basically fills you back up. It's 6 seconds. It becomes really routine. All right. Trying to get it to show you before I kill something. It's kind of hard because. All right, so he just hit me. Still, all my shields are kind of protecting me. You can see your shield that's actually active. If you look at the bar, you see how there's a layer over top of your health bar. Those are your shields that are actually active. You see that there? See how the red is now starting to consume? That's because my shields are wearing off. Let's see here. Come on, guys, attack me. Alright, so now my bar is completely just health. There is no shield. Here comes one shield. See that? Here comes another shield. See that? Now it's stacking on top of that one. Alright? The storm gives me the resist. Right? I didn't attack that one time. I just used my shields and I used actual Boundless Storm. But let's say, okay, so he's puking on me and doing damage to me. See my bar starting to go down. Now I have nothing. He's still beating on me. Alright. Yeah, it's not, it's not looking good. I'm in a fight, and I put on healing ward. Alright. Gives me that shield. And then once it's done, boom, it puts me to max. All right. And the more damaged I'm in, the more healing you're going to get, and especially with the bonuses that I showed you in the champion points. Okay. All right. So you kind of get an idea how to use this. PvE is not optimal for showing this build off, but gives you an idea how to use the skills, right? That the rotation of what you're doing. Here's a big boss. Let's try him. All right. Have all my I can put my shields up while I'm in battle. It doesn't really matter. I know Crystal Frags is up. I'm gonna put Proximity Dead up. Just let that come around him. Keep peppering him. Watch for Crystal Frags to come up. Roll out of that. All right. And then basically everything's dead. Okay? And I barely took any damage there, because my shields were taking the damage. Okay. Alright, so let's go. Already packed. Alright. Give me 1 second. I usually go, so for reference on websites, just like an Elder Scrolls online wiki, basically set bonus crafting locations, and it shows you, you probably have a place that you use for yourself to find different locations for your set items and crafting the set items. But I just wanted to show you. Let's go to the Tourist Pact one. All right. So for EP, Deshaun is a place where you're gonna want it. It's right here. All right, and we'll go there in a second. There's one in Stormhaven. Blue. There we go. Okay. Should have this. It is located right here. I didn't visit it with this character, but it's right here. For Stormhaven. Alright. And there's also one in Bratwood. Wow, horrible. Here we go. Right here. All right. So we'll go to the one, oh, whatever. What do you think we should go to? Stay away from the big monster that's forming right here. Proximity that, we'll drop meteor on him. Go to the one to Sean. Okay, so I'm going to show you just one of the crafting stations for the set pieces. And, you know, that's, a lot of you might already know that, but just to give you an idea, you have to travel to these places to craft your set items that are unique. That have the set item bonuses. Oh, this is the one. So this one indoors. So many of them that sometimes you forget. Okay. This is where you would craft your staff. Make sure you always select. He's not my crafter, that's why that came up. Make sure you always select set weapons and set apparel. These are standard things, right? Don't get messed up and think you're crafting your set items, because you have to actually select the set weapons and set apparel. Okay, so for here we're crafting we would be crafting the staff. Okay, the Restro staff. Boom. You want to be crafting it in the highest material, VR16. If you're leveling your character and you want to still use this build, Vicious Death. I think Vicious Death is only VR16, so this is a VR16 only build, unless you're interested in subbing out those items or something else. But so select the appropriate material, whatever style you want, right? How you want it to look, and again the traits. Are all the different types of traits, right? We again went with defending on ours, and that's the basically trait. Again, this isn't my crafter. This is my Magicka Sorc. I have a crafter class. It's separate. He's actually a Templar. Doesn't really matter, but yeah, he's a maxed out Templar. All right, woodworking. This is your clothing, so we'll be, making the. You'd be making the belt here for this build. Light armor, make sure you're looking at it and says light armor, because medium is here also. This is completely light armor, 5 pieces of light armor. Alright. And then you want the blacksmith. Okay, this is where you're creating your daggers or your swords, your choice, but create 2. Alright. And then again, same thing, right? You're picking the highest material, so you can create VR16. You're creating the style that you want, how you want it to look, and then the effect. On mine, I think sharpened, because no, that's not right. I went with precise to increase my spell crit. All right, so if you look at it again, you probably noticed that in the beginning of the video. Precise was the trait that's on the daggers. All right. Okay. So that's where you can craft the items. Now let's go to a guild store. Well, you should know the major hubs of your guild stores where you can find multiple um, guild traders, right? You make the choice depending on if you are already VR60, you could travel anywhere. It's not a big deal. Um, but if you uh, want to shop around, usually Mournhold is a huge hub for basically finding multiple guild traders and lots of people there, and pretty big trade guilds, located there. So you do your shopping there. Um, I also do shopping at Wayrest. Okay, that's another place I like to actually go. 'Cause they have multiple guild traders there too. Um, give you some other options. You can go into East March and go to Windhelm. Multiple guild traders there, so you can do shopping. Crag, that has a hub of guild traders. I bounce around. There's definitely a lot of options, but those are the main ones I go to. Um, I don't know. I just got set, on where I want to look, and then if it really the prices are just not what you want to pay, you can start looking at the individual guild traders on your map. You just go and find the little icon for a guild trader, and usually one guild trader that's by a way shrine is going to get some traffic, right? So it's a good place to actually put your guild trader if you can't afford to put it into a higher. If you are a guild store and then a GM that's part of a trade guild, you can go to guild traders that are out here that are less expensive to bid on compared to the ones that I just showed you, which have multiple guild traders. It's a big location. You basically are going to have to pay a lot to get that guild trader. Okay, but back to the point. If we wanted to go shopping, let's just go to Crag. Have a ton of people there, always hoarding all over. Annoying the crap out of you sometimes. Do, 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 do. Yes, yes. I'll show you a Dolmer, but probably not. All right, let's just go to the. Let's get to the guild store. God, all these mobs love me.
Casting witch will best know a great hardhead.
Okay. Okay, so again, we're looking for the Vicious Death set. You can buy it. It comes in all pieces, so you can even get jewelry and weapons. So you can mix and match how you want. Again, I showed you how I mixed it up. You can definitely go that route or mix it up yourself. Turrets packed. Again, that was a very low. It only requires, I think, like 2 traits to be learned, if I remember right. Yeah, three traits. 3 traits required on that one. Very simple. I mean, once you learn those traits, you'll be able to craft that one. So definitely very easy to craft. It's not a 9 trait. You know, craftable gear, so it's easy to craft for you. Um, so here, let's take a look at this trader, for example. Okay. Looking under apparel, light armor, um, filter. This is on, again, this is on console. All right. Filtering VR16. Um, epic quality. You can look for legendary quality, but epic is usually going to be what you're going to hit on Vicious Death. That is superior also, and you'd have to upgrade from superior to epic to legendary. But let's just start with epic. Okay. See, there's a Vicious Death chest piece for 10k, and it's got divines on it. Pretty nice setup right there. Divines is a good one to have. Like I said, divines or impen. Just make sure you find some with impen too, if you want to, you know, do what I did. Split it up a little bit. You can always craft the impen on your turrets packed, so that's only one piece, but again, that's an option too. So again, more impen than divines, but this one's only 10k. All right, so it's pretty easy, uh, pretty easy choice here. This one has impen and it's 11k. So there you go. All right. This is where you really want to be. You really, when you do your shopping, you want to look around. They're going to be around 10k. All the pieces will be. Um, if you're starting to see stuff, wander a little bit, this is 15k. I wouldn't buy it personally. If I'm desperate at other 5k and I'm stacked with gold, yeah, sure, go ahead and buy it for 15k. But you can get it for 10k. Not a big deal on cost. All right, so that's how I'm looking for the different gear items. Again, I could look for um, weapons, same way. If I wanted to go that route. There we go. Vicious Death. 3K. All right, if you want to go that way and do your maces that way, and then do turrets packed as gear items, you can do it that way, right? Craft your gear items for turrets packed instead of crafting weapons. It's another option that you have. Okay. Um, when I'm looking for uh,
Come and do business.
willpower, let's look at a different trader just so you get the idea. You basically can shop around, right? We're looking for the willpower rings. We'll just do all of them. Rings and the necklace. Okay. All right. Now, this looks cheap, right? Oh my God, there's willpower for only 751. But look, you don't want stamina. You want Magicka. Okay. That's where the cost is going to go up. You want arcane on the willpower. It's really a Magicka set, so you want arcane. So as you keep looking, okay, willpower. There's health. Again, this is very viable because I mean, look at that. For 1,000, you can basically get the health rings. For PvP, I find this optimal, right? Buff up your health. So you're looking at a real cheap alternative here. Instead of going for Magicka ring for only 1,000, you can basically put this on. There's another one. So boom, I'm out the door. 2 rings for 2k. All right. So if I start looking for willpower in Magicka, um, I can go. Oops. Arcane. Right. Let's really filter it down. Station. All right. Neck for willpower for 20k. Perfect. I'm gonna enchant out of that reduced stamina cost. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna enchant spell damage onto it anyways. All right. So there you go. For 20k, you got your necklace. You're ready to roll. And those 2 rings with health. So you're talking 22k. You've basically got your full neck 2 rings. Um, if I wanted to look for the rings, there's a vicious death ring. That's an example, right? If you wanted to mix it up that way. This is kind of different though because you really can't break up willpower. This build is really set on the 3-piece willpower. All right, so it's not really an option for this build to use the jewelry for vicious death. But here we go. There's a 45k Magicka based arcane ring. If you wanted to go full out Magicka, you're going to spend a little more because the rings cost a little bit more. So between the two, you're almost 90k if you bought these 2 Magicka-based arcane rings instead of 2 health rings. Okay, again, it's your choice. That's just maximizing your damage because you have a bigger Magicka pool. You have more, more Magicka to cast with, and you also have Magicka buffs your damage basically on all your abilities, your spells. So that's one option, but you're going to have less health. Um, you know, it's however you want to roll that. All right. So that's basically it on how to shop for your gear and also how to craft that gear. And pretty much in Cyrodiil, let's take a quick look. Got some of that going in over the trade guilds. Cool. If I can get one pretty quickly so I don't have to make you guys wait. I'll go into the guest one. All right. And so once we jump in here, what we're going to look at is quickly look at the statistics on the character sheet and see how they actually are in PvP. And you'll see how this build and the set here stacks up once you're in Cyrodiil. Alright. So here we are in Cyrodiil. I have my food buff on. And here's my character sheet. As you can see, I'm at 24k health, and that's where you really want to be when you're, in my opinion, in Cyrodiil. Shield stacking is going to help that because you're not going to tap into that health pool, and also your resist for Boundless Storm, and you basically had a little bit extra health, right? Again, I did it with the rings, and going that route instead of the Magicka on those rings. And this is just with food. Here's where I'm at, and I'm getting some of the buffs, Battle Spirit buff here, that helps, with some of the stats there. Okay, so that's where that's coming from. And it doesn't look like, this is good because it doesn't look like we own, something happened overnight. Doesn't look like we own a lot of the bonuses. Yeah, so we had all this last night. We'll work on this again today. It's EP, but we had all this last night, so we had a lot more bonuses. I just used this campaign to farm the sewers for TV stones, and makes it easy to get into and not get too much PvP. If I want my main campaign, I want PvP, that's basically where I go. Remember the shoulder I talked to you about? I told you when we went into Cyrodiil that we would visit the vendor here. The vendor's located here in the southern gate for EP. Each faction has them in their home base location. You just have to look. I think they're all by the banker. Okay, the banker's over there, right there. And this one pops up from Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern through Sunday night. You know, Monday morning he's gone. And they sell the Undaunted sets, certain pieces, and they also sell like Vicious Death. They sell some of the newer gear items too. All right, it's either for alliance points or it's for gold. Okay, and that's where you can buy your Undaunted shoulders. In this case, we have these here, and you know, again, that's your choice. I'm waiting for Molakina for the spell damage, but I did buy a similar set that had the health. This one does too. Here, so you have a choice of Magicka, either for gold or for AP points, and you also have stamina. You see the enchant, you get stamina or Magicka. Oops, right here, stamina or Magicka. See there? And in this case, it's also light or medium armor. So you have a variety of choices to go through. All right, so that pretty much wraps up everything. You basically saw the build, you saw the skills, saw the items, you saw where to craft them, and champion point allocation, and how to do the rotation of the attacks. Again, if you have any other questions or anything, just drop me a comment in the section under the YouTube video that I'll post for this, and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching.
Is there no one else? Is there no one else?